let's say you're a later stage, Series C, Series D. So you've been around for a while. You've got a business. You're not AI native, and you're starting to see competitors come in that are AI native. So they don't have the legacy infrastructure and the tech debt and the all the UI that you've built that was built before AI existed. Um, any trends or patterns that you're seeing for how those later stage companies defend themselves and compete and try to prevent the disruption of an AI native entrant? Like, what's some of the best work going on for folks who just don't have the benefit of being born today? They were born yesterday.
I worked at Intercom about 10 years ago, and I think that like as soon as like OpenAI and ChatGPT came out, they just like pivoted the whole company and like went all in on AI support and launched Fin. And I think they like kind of bet the company around being first there and like putting a bunch of resources around that. I think that has been effective for them on the outside. I'm no longer affiliated with the company, but I think to do it well, like you kind of have to do that. Otherwise, I think you'll get left behind. And so whether you take a large percentage of the team to go do that or build a tiger team, if you're not doing it, like you're going to get left behind. I think it's going to happen sooner than people think. And I think the best companies, like I started my career at Facebook, and several times that company had to pit, like we were about to go public and we had no mobile strategy for mobile ads, and Zuck pivoted the whole company. I think the best leaders recognize that and can see around the corners and aren't afraid to make that hard fork towards what you need to do. And I think we will see some people hedge and probably get left behind, and the people who make pretty definitive moves there, I think, can stay competitive because you have the relationship with the customer. So it's kind of yours to lose if you don't do it.
Yeah. Pivot hard.
Yeah, I think if you're selling to enterprises today, you're in slightly better shape because the churn will be less, and I think some of those companies will be wary of adopting a AI native company and probably will want to wait a little bit, and it's probably existing relationships also in place. But I think if you're an incumbent selling to small companies where the cost of churning, like the churn is much higher, the cost switching is becoming lower and lower, I think it's going to be really difficult to innovate. And I think you just have to, it's going to be a bit of a war to talent, and then you got to have to kind of like speed up innovation. But I think it's difficult, right? And I think that's what's so exciting about the new AI companies. They can take market share very, very quickly.
Yeah.
It's funny because traditionally what you described like a Series C company was the one that I was like most scared of competing with as like someone leading a seed round. I was like, oh, they're still like nimble but they have resources. But at least while there are that have some that have done what y'all are describing, generally we're finding them not very strong competition. Like they're just too kind of ingrained with like large departments and product that's built that they have trouble turning the ship and making the necessary risk, like taking the necessary risks to kind of throw a lot of that away to kind of focus on the new world. So at least I think most folks are not doing this well.
Yeah, I'm speaking as an operator of a Series C company. It is hard. I think my experience, we're a system of record, is that what we look for, what I look for personally, are what are the advantages that we have in data as a system of record? So unique sets of data that we have that others don't. So if you're a seed-based company, you may have great technology, but you don't have our data set in our case on relationship graphs. The second is vertical expertise on workflows and just understanding the customer, understanding the space, and then taking those two and saying, all right, what are the rifle shot applications that we can develop? We have a right to win as it relates to AI generally and agentic applications more specifically, and try not to get distracted building things that others can build, or you can simply open up your platform, make it more API based, and start to draft off a lot of those other applications that people are building. But pick the subset that you have a reason to believe that you have a right to win. And then to your comment, Hadley, you do have to take some courage and say, well, this is our roadmap and this is our strategy. The world has changed much faster than I think I've seen the world change in since I've been doing this for decades. You have to have the courage to make those changes, push the company, change strategy, change roadmap. But all that I think mixes together as a series, at least for me, as a Series C operator.
And I think what's going to be weird is that we as venture investors, I feel like if you were to create a chart, like if the rows were the category, like customer support, and then the columns were like system of record company, what we call these like AI teenagers, like they got started 2015, 2017, pre-chat GPT, and then like the newer post LLM companies. I don't know if others share this opinion, but I feel like the end results can be fairly heterogeneous. Like there's nothing structural that says you know, intercom. There's nothing structurally that says intercom can't do it, and maybe intercom wins. And I feel like in 5 or 10 years, when we circle the winner in the category by the different rows, I think it's going to be fairly heterogeneous. Where, like, there's no theoretical reason it's oh my god, only the LLM native companies have the way to do it, but it's going to come down to choices, execution, team, which is very odd because I don't think there's yeah, I think anyone has the right to win if they make the right choices.
Yeah, the right strategic choices and have the right talent.
Yeah. Yeah. And so therefore you as an venture investor, I don't think it's right to say, oh, you should not do this early stage deal because of this incumbent. Because I think in 10 years it's going to be fairly heterogeneous as to where the winners come from.
I think that goes to Hadley's point earlier. Like velocity matters so much. It's like teams that can ship. It's like my favorite thing to ask people between meetings is like, what's new? And if it's like nothing's new, you got to be moving fast. And I think that slope of building and speed to execution is that competitive advantage.
I agree. All the years I spent as an operator and running product, it never seems like we're shipping fast enough, ever. Always trying to, and it's hard to measure velocity. Um, Other comments on that question, on that topic? All right. I'd like to move to advice. We've given some explicitly, some implicitly. Why don't we start? Let's say you're a founder, a seed, got an idea, you're prototyping. Let's say if you're seed A, you're obviously further along than that. What advice would you give someone at that stage? Broad question, intentionally. Take it where you want.
I can go first if you want. I guess I'll take more of the seed stage because I think, uh, or I guess A as well. Like, make sure that you like iterate with a very small team and do that until you have like real strong pull from the market. I talk about this a lot, but like one of the most common fail points is teams switching from kind of product market fit searching, fit kind of deepening to early scaling too quickly. And a lot of that happens because founders understand that their level of true fit. And honestly, a lot of it happens because investors, maybe who do a new round or whatnot, want them to scale because that's why they invested, and they push them to kind of meet early numbers. And then they kind of get into like what I'd call like a local maxima where like they kind of built the company around a certain kind of product and go to market and attempt it just like never going to grow that quickly, and then they can grow just quickly enough to kind of not stay alive and look like it's doing okay. You know what I mean? So avoid that urge until like you're really getting pull from the market and it's like no one can like you can't service your customers fast enough, and you're not needing to kind of then I don't think you really have product market fit.